30, 97 seconds, Boyz podcast.
That's
Coming to you
us.
live.
That's us.
In the house.
That's us.
Tyler, I don't know, my co-host.
How do we do it?
Do what?
How do we come on here and just be the most epic fucking host we can be every week?
Because we're amazing.
Well, if that's
Joe
the word.
SKELLY hosting today's show.
If that's the word.
Well, we're going to start off that way. How about that?
Yeah. Hit it.
So I came across a meme and I thought it was really funny.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I
Do
want
we
to
do
show it
memes?
to you. I want to show it to you. It's amazing,
Are
actually.
we old because we still do memes?
I don't know.
Okay.
We might be.
All right.
Anyway, it said
I'm new.
Dennis Nerdy
Okay.
from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
You know who he was? He was the guy with the glasses that tried to steal the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
and leave
yeah.
the park.
Yeah. The postman.
Was secretly cosplaying all the characters from Goonies. There's the picture.
Get
The
the
fuck out.
of here.
And maybe that's an Easter egg that nobody fucking realized in that movie.
Oh, it is.
Dude, he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt like Chunk,
It is.
right? He looks like, yeah, dude, it's 100%. He's cosplaying all the characters out of Goonies, which is also one of the greatest movies ever made, by the way.
I'm not going to argue with
Yeah.
you about that.
So I'm going to bring you back around to something that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever heard of a book called the Giga Codex? Or
Fuck.
the Codex Giga?
No. What is it? Tell me.
So
I
allegedly,
must know.
back in the day, there was a monk,
Chair creaks.
right,
Okay.
in a monastery who was supposedly practicing the dark arts. And the church was going to sentence him to death unless he came forward
Okay.
with all this information.
A monk with the church.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that kind of monk. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he was in a cell, and they said, you got to write it all down and show us what it is, or we're going to put you to death. And in 24 hours flat, allegedly, he wrote a book called the Codex Giga
This is the one that he wrote in his own blood too, or
that
something?
he wrote in his own
Yeah,
blood.
I've heard. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
The book weighs over 65 pounds,
Right.
right? And allegedly, he wrote it with his own blood with the help of the devil, and he wrote it in 24 hours flat. And it's this massive book that covers all.
So I have this written down as a point to talk about. I think I saw the same thing you did. Maybe. Did you see the picture of the book?
Yes.
It's huge, right?
Huge.
Looks like a Bible, though.
Dude, it's massive.
Right. So we did see it. Yeah.
And
I
they
was going
said-
to ask you if you saw that.
Yeah, and they said that if he were to really write this book, it would have taken him like 30 years to write this book.
Right. And he finished it in
24 hours.
no fucking way.
That's the story.
What do you think?
I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit in this world that we can't explain or we don't understand. But why would there be such a prevalent story about this thing that he did it in 24 hours? And everybody's dead. Everywhere you look, it says 24 hours.
I don't know. Maybe it's
The book is on display someplace.
The book does exist.
It does exist, and you
Right.
can go see it, and it's on display. And it
Right.
has like pictures of demons and devils, and it has ceremonies and everything all written out.
Right. All right. Well,
It had to come from someplace.
yeah.
I mean, the
My
guy
chair's
didn't just
squeaking.
invent all of this shit, right? Where did all this
I
information
mean,
come
even
from?
if we're just talking about the knowledge, even if it didn't take 24 hours, that's still a crazy amount of content
Oh, fuck yeah.
that he put
That's
out
way,
allegedly.
and I hate to admit it, that's more content than we did in our first year.
Well, you know what?
Even though we beat 98% of the other content creators
The-
on the platform
the-
with content creation.
the devil's not that interesting to us, though.
Yeah.
That's why. Like, we acknowledge his existence.
Yeah.
We know he's powerful,
Yeah.
but we don't fuck with him.
No.
Right. So that's why.
Don't poke that fucking bear.
I think that's why.
Don't poke that fucking
He
bear.
won't have to eat your face.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to stay for as long as possible.
All right. I'm not
All right,
upset
so,
with that.
Yeah. All
right.
Leave the devil alone right there.
So those were the
That's-
two quick little blurbs I wanted to
that's
bring
scary.
up before you delved into what you want to talk about today.
Let's delve into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boyz podcast has multiple announcements, of which we will not be making today. Tonight's guest is a special one. You might know him as Joe SKELLY.
Oh, me?
Today,
I'm the special guest today?
Today, though, you will know him as
Joe
Skelly in the streets.
Oh my. All
Oh
right.
my.
Oh my.
Oh my. So, Joe Skelly, let's lay our chips on the table. We all know you've been accused of certain things in the past.
I've been accused of a lot of
Yeah, we're not going to go over all of it, guy. Just the two that I'm accusing you of. Well, these two that I'm accusing you of out of the list.
All right.
Number one, you being a dirty fucking punk.
I will wholeheartedly accept that.
Yeah. Oh, we have proof now. Number two. Oh, shit. What was number two?
Oh, look, it failed already.
Hold on. Son of a bitch. I've had this planned all week. What the fuck just happened? Oh, yeah. Oh, damn it. It slipped right over my head. It's your fault that fucking vegans exist. All right, let's move on. So those are the two accusations on the table. And we're about to go through the evidence that I've been collecting.
Oh, please bring on the evidence.
Joe Skelly, would you say that upon meeting each other, we've had some of the same experiences, small ones, in the
Yes.
concert world?
Yes.
Slightly.
Slightly.
Of varying degrees. Would you agree also that the culture that I've been exposed to was legacy of your culture?
That'd probably be a fair statement.
Mm-hmm. What you guys don't know about Joe Skelly is that Joe Skelly is a world famous promoter.
I wouldn't say world famous.
Oh, it's world famous.
That's a pretty broad statement.
Listen, guy, when LeBron James is world famous, he still has a towel kid somewhere. If that towel kid wasn't mopping up whatever he does, LeBron wouldn't be there. So he's connected. Now, nobody knows that kid's name, but he's still part of the team. So, world famous promoter for a famous Cleveland punk band by the name of, tell him, you heathen.
No. You want to interview me? You tell
I
me.
will tell him. The Brazen Rogues. Dude, we really need a soundtrack guy.
Yes.
This would be cooler if we had a soundtrack guy.
Okay.
Or if 90s soundtracks were still cool, it would be kind of cool. I need like a soundboard so I can make funny noises happen. Yeah. I don't want to. I say that I want those dumb things, but I don't.
You don't.
Anyways, so punk culture guy. Wow. Now, for everyone to understand my angle, we're going to have to delve into this again. I hate fucking talking about this, but let's do it again. Punkers.
All right.
Man, I fucking hate punkers.
Why do you hate punkers?
All right, and we're going to go
There's
over that.
varying degrees.
We're going to go.
There's varying degrees of punk rockers.
But, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. Everyone on this show knows that you guys think I'm from the West Coast, Best Coast, whatever.
You are.
Yeah.
I don't think I know.
mean, yeah, I was raised there a little bit. But as the joke always says, like I always say, I'm a spectator, not an agitator, so to speak. So I spent a lot of time.
Did you just say that?
Yeah. Right.
If I had that big lie button, I would push it right fucking now. But all right, let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
So, growing up in Orange County as a young teenager in the 90s, you would say that most punk was already like laid groundwork. I mean, it's the 90s, bro. Okay, who's the most famous punk band in the 90s?
There were a lot of them.
Name
right?
them.
Social D was out there hitting the streets, right?
Okay.
Blink didn't come until later.
Okay. See, it's very interesting that you add Blink in there, but let's continue. Good. This is why I like this is exactly where I was going.
Sex Pistols had already passed.
Right.
Right.
Those were like the historics.
Right. You can't. People say
how
the
about
Clash is punk, but they're
Gr-
not really punk.
How
right?
about? Oh, that's an interesting line. So that's interesting. How about Green Day?
Green Day in its earliest iterations was around,
Mhm.
right? I mean, everybody thinks that their big album was what is it? The one with like the mushroom cloud.
The
on
Mushroom
the front?
Cloud, yeah, but it's not. There's
that
like
wasn't their first album. by
right.
any
There's like
means.
2 more or something before
two
that,
or
or
three
some
before
shit.
that, right?
Right.
But you have to understand it. The '90s, punk was kind of fading out, right?
Right.
There were pockets of punk.
Exactly.
There were
Exactly.
pockets of punk
Okay.
rock, right?
Good. So I'm not crazy.
Op Ivy, Lars Friedrichsen in before he was with the Bastards, and all the stuff he had done. I mean,
Okay.
there was a lot of stuff
Yeah,
out there. Bouncing Souls.
This is what I love. Okay. So growing up in Orange County, like, again, it was in Long Beach for a little bit. Then I went to Orange County, and Orange County was a really nice place. A lot of different cultures. A lot of, Orange County's like, the first place I ever saw my first greaser, Rockabilly Head was out there.
Right.
He was, cuff jeans, t-shirts, fucking pompadour, and was driving like a 55 fucking something, and I was just blown away. See this guy driving down the road. I was like, dude, you're like a calendar. Like I saw you in a movie, homie, next to Elvis.
Right.
Right. So, and then growing up in out there, there were punks.
You
everywhere.
had the Misfits.
See, now the Misfits
started in the
and
70s.
we're gonna get onto that too, because I definitely
and they went through all their iterations, right?
Yeah, Misfits have had 90 members.
Right.
They're that's
well, maybe
not
90 members, but
Dude,
Glenn was no longer a part of the Misfits at that point in time.
It's a lot. Like Jerry Only, I think, is the only original member, right?
Right.
Something
right
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so let's go back. So I'm in the 90s. I'm hanging out as a kid, and every kid has his
Rollins. Right, Black Flag.
I love him. I love
Black
him.
Flag had already,
Black Flag,
had already faded out, and Rollins had gone solo. All right.
In the 90s, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I'm there. I'm in the 90s. I'm a young kid, and I'm meeting people, and I'm meeting people in all the different cities, and I meet different kinds of punkers. Now seeing like, dude, we're talking like the hardcore. I'm gonna try to describe these guys to you. You tell me what these guys are. Like these dudes had like the tight black pants, the high docks, the colored Liberty spikes everywhere.
Punk rockers.
Just hardcore punk rockers. That's what those are, right?
Spikes on their jackets, or they took off the tops of the lighters and they crimped them around the edges of their leather jacket.
All of it.
Right.
Safety pins out the yin-yang if you needed to sew something together.
But they weren't fashion punks.
Okay, so yeah. So what's a fashion punk?
See, today's, in the mid 2000s, right? You had the fashion punks, right?
Okay.
And what they were trying to do was copy what the original punk rockers were doing, right? But they were buying all their shit from fucking Hot Topic, right? They were buying their plaid pants with 9,000 safety pins in them and all that other shit, right?
No. I can't handle those.
Guys. They were going to Anti-Flag concerts and shit. And I used to. These kids used to fucking piss me off because they're like, fuck this country, fuck this, fuck that. They weren't anti-establishment. They were anti-fucking this country, right?
Right.
But then the motherfuckers would get back and their soccer moms would pick them up in their soccer vans, right?
Right.
And they'd get into the soccer van with all their fucking shit that they got at Hot Topic, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey kid, why punkers wore fucking safety pins? It was to hold their fucking clothes together.
Right.
Because they were all dirt fucking poor.
Not because they paid $80 for a pair of jeans and then slapped some pins on them.
Or the jeans came with them.
Okay. Yep.
Or their plaid pegged. We used to peg pants, right?
Right.
They have skinny jeans now. Kids used to do that themselves. They would split the seams and then re-sew them so that they would be tighter, and they'd be like what we would call skinny jeans now, but they would be like plaid skinny pants, right? Or whatever. They call them pegging the pants, right?
Huh. I never heard of that either. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm from the generation of skinny jeans, so I don't know. It's my fault somehow that skinny jeans appeared.
Yeah, there's a total difference between the fashion punks and what the real punk rock kids.
That's interesting.
Because the real punk rock kids were dirt poor, right?
So then that's my point.
A lot of them lived on the fucking streets.
So the Mega Beast, the Mega Beast asked me one time, she said, why do you dislike punk so much? I said, listen, when you're from where I'm from, number one, there's a cool crowd. Always. They've got everything. They've got dirt bikes, riches, whatever, goes all the way to the top, right? And I've seen them all. Like I've been to school with the kids who had the yachts, and I've been to school with the kids who had one bedroom for the whole fucking house, right? So when I looked at punks, to me, first of all, it was a crazy style. Like you see a punk rocker walking down the road, you're double taken.
Oh yeah.
You're like, yo, what the fuck? And then the flag. So me growing up there, I'd see them all the time. And then of course I'd see the same fucking flags everywhere. And that's a part that I was curious about, is like these guys are wearing
anarchy shit.
Oh, the GB. Yeah. Well, the anarchy, I forgot about that. The anarchy, but the, what was it? Me and Tommy Skelly were talking about GBH. Is that the band? What's that band called? GBR, GBH. It's just initials. They're a popular, famous one. I don't remember. But we were talking about one of them, the Addicts.
right?
Of course,
And the Addicts are still playing, and let me tell you, they put on a fucking amazing show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna get
dude.
into
If
that
they
too.
come back, we are absolutely going to see the Addicts, dude, because that show is awesome.
Yeah, and so for me growing up, I'm looking at this culture, and I see these guys, and I see these people, and I'm like, wow, look at that guy's shirt. I don't know what band that is, but it looks like they took that with a shitty Polaroid and printed it on this shirt and sold it. You know, wow, that's this culture, this fucking hardline culture.
But here's the question. I mean, so punk rock started in England.
Right.
And then moved to the US, right?
Yeah, and they've got...
And everybody forgets about CBGB's in New York, which was like the launch pad for all of these underground punk bands.
Right.
To get famous in this fucking country, right?
And of course it makes sense in the bigger cities. But you guys up in Cleveland have had a scene going on for a while too. And you guys have produced
the scene has its ebbs and flows, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Like...
Definite. You're not wrong about that, bro.
Like punk rock would die out, and all of a sudden they would come back like 3 years later, and then it'd be strong for 5 years, and then it would die out again, you know, because some other music fad would come in, right? Like hardcore. But hardcore is also, this town's also been huge with hardcore, like New York hardcore.
So
like bands like the Gorilla Biscuits and fucking all these other fucking crazy bands.
Right.
Oh,
that's where I laugh, because again, growing up, I saw all these punks and I'd go hang out with them. And that's, you know, when the Mega Beast asked, why didn't you like these guys? I said, well, listen, I'd go hang out with these punkers. They would tell me about how they were so anarchy, this, that, or the other. And then, like you said, they would go home to their Orange County 5-bedroom house. And I'm like, homie, your punk smells like I'm mad at my dad.
Right.
And that to me was confusing.
But see, that wasn't really a thing here.
Right.
Right. Well, those fashion punks didn't come along until much later, right?
Well, yeah, the 90s, because you guys, right.
Because, dude.
So we...
In the early 90s to mid 90s here, the punk rockers were punk rockers, right?
Right.
They had squats.
So I should have started over. I had an idea and I was going to play this kind of funny, but we kind of melded right into it. So here we are with this fucking scene, and for you, or for me, it's the fashion punks. For me, it's the fashion punks. And for me, it was rough because I liked my bands and I was like, dude, if I really like your band, that's dope. But if you're just wearing this shit because you want to throw some fucking flag up about some band you don't care about, that's weird to me, right? And especially if you were a punker, right? Because you're like, dude, you really are like promoting this. Like, how much do you like them? They're okay. My sister gave me this shirt. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but I wouldn't be having some dude on there doing whatever he's doing on that shirt, you know, and again, trying to do this. So for me, I guess that is fashion punk. Yeah, I can't handle that.
But here's a weird saying. I heard this not that long ago from somebody, and they said some of the most punk rock people I know wear 3-piece suits.
That's true. And I believe that.
Because they were the hardcore. They were the hard drinking, hard fighting punk rock kids that went to fucking dirty punk rock shows, right?
So let's go into this question. What does this culture, because again, you and I are of different generations, and I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Like my music, I do listen to metalcore. I listen to screamo. I grew up with the indie bands, you know, but I know that it came from punk.
Right, but then you have off branches of that, like Oi music, right?
Right.
Oi is like your traditional skinheads, not your Nazi skins.
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
You're like your sharp skins. You're like the guys who shave their head. They're blue collar dudes, work their fucking asses off, and all they wanted to do was listen to music and drink a beer at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, that's so again, like, what does that mean to you? For your guys' culture, what did it mean to you guys when you were growing up? And this is the part where it's opinion. So, you know, we're going to have Tommy Skelly on again and let him talk about it. But I want to know, like, you know, what was your personal connection to it?
Well, the music spoke to a lot of us, right? Because we were poor. We were angry.
Yeah.
Right? We seen the city was falling down. We seen the desolation in parts of, you know, because this city's gone through a lot of transformations, right? For us, it was, you know, I'm poor and I want to hang out and I want to hang my head with my friends and drink beer and make this go away. And I want to listen to good music and I want to, you know, have a good time. I want to be able to cut loose and express myself. And that's kind of what it was. There was a huge scene here for a really long time. Like in high school,
Cleveland is like,
when I was in high school, there was an area where everybody would congregate, right? And any night of the week, you could go down to this place and there'd be hundreds and hundreds of kids, right? There was skateboarders, there was punk rockers, there was skinheads, there was hacky sackers,
the sharps there.
There were the hippie kids.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody congregated and everybody pretty much, yeah, you had your cliques, but everybody pretty much got along, right? There wasn't this like inter clique rivalry. You'd be like, oh, those kids, dirty fucking pot smoking hippies, blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, look, there's the hacky sack kids, because there was all those same 20 hacky sack kids were there playing hacky sack every night of the week, right? But I mean, there was a time when the Nazi skins showed up at this area.
Yeah, I heard. So, yeah, okay.
And they started trashing the stores.
Right.
Right? And all the punk rockers and all the skinheads against racial prejudice, and everybody joined forces and ran down the street and beat them off the fucking block.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be, 100%. Right? They're like, fuck you, get out of here, you Nazi fucks.
Right.
Right? But, and things change. Things go, in ebbs and flows, right? Because then it disappeared for a while.
Okay.
And I didn't see it again until I came back.
Really?
Years later.
So we are kind of in a backwards timeline here. So you're into this punk music shit. You love it. You're going to shows. I know you've listed a billion shows. Dude, you list bands. I'm like, I've never even fucking heard of that band. And I try to at least keep tabs at least at some point. And because we're a little bit older, I know we're both not on Spotify every night trying to find the newest punk band.
No.
That's not happening.
No, that's not.
So we're kind of set in our ways. So hearing you be able to list off punk bands I've never even heard of, I'm just like, Jesus, what the fuck were you guys doing?
Well, if you listen to my Spotify list, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot
I don't do that.
Yeah, so it's a really weird mix of music, right?
Yeah.
But it's all these different things that have influenced me over the years, right? And there's a lot of good old school punk bands. There's a lot of good boy bands.
Some of the really original punk bands.
Yeah, I do. There's some
you like the English punk.
There's some
don't
dude,
you? I've
partied with some of those guys.
You turned me on to the Pogues, which has influenced just so much.
Oh,
you can't even,
dude.
That's just original punk.
Yeah, but it was anti-establishment, Irish anti-establishment.
So,
music.
and that's the part too. Like for me, growing up as a young kid,
you think of punk, but you listen to them, and they're not really punk.
Who?
The Pogues.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Maybe they're.
But punk came from the Pogues.
Punk came from the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols were around before the Pogues.
Wait, what?
Yeah, dude. There's pictures of Shane MacGowan from the Pogues. Shane MacGowan, before the Pogues was even formed, there's pictures of him standing front stage at Sex Pistols shows.
Right. You did show me this. Okay. Let me back all the way fucking up then, because see, my punk history's fucked up. I don't know my history. So, and it's okay. I said that. I don't know. So Sex Pistols influenced Pogues. Really?
Oh,
now I'm
there
backwards.
There were so many different great bands that influenced them, but when they came out, Shane MacGowan and the Pogues wanted to do something that was a tip of the hat to his traditional Irish roots.
So he blends in, and that's where he gets his kind of hardness from his favorite style, then mixing it with the old school. Okay,
right, because that was his tip of the hat, right?
Right.
To his grandfather, who was an IRA member, right?
Right.
I mean, he wanted to honor his roots at the same time, bring Irish music to the forefront of modern music.
Right.
That was his original goal.
Yeah. So again, I don't fucking follow this stuff. To me, again, growing up, you heard about punk shows, but I was like, bro, I'm not trying to get Hep C today, so I'm just gonna chill at home.
Yeah, but you have to understand that kids that went to punk shows also went and saw, watched all the metal shows too.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So it's really interesting to be. So I never got to.
Just didn't do just punk shows only.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
You just wanted to go to shows, right?
I just went to shows. Yeah, I don't.
You wanted hard, angry music, right?
So I've had other people, any category of this whole trifecta fucking history that we're talking about, my personal plot in it has been told to me by other people. I didn't know about all this. How I dressed was influenced by people I saw on the street, people I shook hands with, people that I met. And then later on, my friends, even some friends that I met here that are punk rockers, and there's only 2 other guys, legit. I have 2 other buddies that besides you guys that are really genuinely into real punk. And they were the ones that told me, they're like, bro, you hung out with this class of people. And I was like, I don't know what that is because I've never seen that. I've never been to a punk show. I don't have any fucking clue what you're talking about. And so you have this big idea of what punk is and coming out here. And I was out here in the early 2000s. There really wasn't a lot. Like I've seen the Misfits. I've seen American Werewolf. I've seen Agent Orange. And even at their shows, bro, there weren't really punk kids there. Like I mean, there were punk kids, but you know what I'm saying? You couldn't see the ones that I would imagine would have been there. They weren't really there. Right? So looking at that, it was like, okay, is American Werewolf a real punk band, or is it a rockabilly deathcore band, or is it a rockabilly psychobilly band, or is it?
They get lumped in with the punk group, but they're not really. I wouldn't say they're really punk.
Oh, see? So I'm right. So it is, same thing with Agent Orange. Agent Orange feels like every punker that's a real punker knows them. But I look at Agent Orange and I'm like, dude, you look like you're fucking part of Blink-182's crew.
But look at Corrosion of Conformity.
Never seen them, yeah.
Or some of these other crazy ass bands that were out there. That were hardcore, or they were a cross between hardcore and metal, and dabbled in the punk or dabbled in the oi kind of thing,
Yeah.
Where oi is more sing-songy.
I like oi stuff, apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I've been researching it a lot lately. So we go to this. So here we are.
I mean, you get bands like the Ducky Boys, right?
Bro.
Ducky Boys are like
the Ducky Boys.
Way more oi than they're, I mean, in my opinion, they're way more oi than they are punk, right?
So, no, I don't know. This is a good answer. I like this. I like this though, because again, dude, you have to understand, coming from where I'm from, this culture, this ideology that was there way before we were, was so big where I'm from. I don't know what they got going on today, but as a child walking around seeing these motherfuckers, you can't not look at these motherfuckers as a young kid and be like, damn, that dude's hard as fuck. Look at what he's wearing. Like, bro, you gotta have some balls just to look like that. You trying to get thumped on over here, And I remember thinking about all these bands. So we fast forward, I'm fucking here. We're working with you. We hooked up with you about, whatever, so much time ago. And you've been telling me, hey, I like this shit. I like this shit. And, we banter, we joke, but I know I'm from the legacy of that hardcore, all that bullshit's from some sort of punk music. You like, everybody knows that if you like music at all, you have to have a lineage. Your shit just didn't erupt out of nowhere, right? So he's telling me about this fucking band. Now tell me, I know you're like, let's keep it limited for the history of that, but you're going through your life. You've got all your little punk homies, and your homies make a band called the Brazen Rogues. Right. So they make a band called the Brazen Rogues. Now you've got a homie who's in the fucking circuit. And then you join the circuit by doing all of their promoting.
This is correct.
And that is where the great Joe SKELLY fits into all this nice little puzzle. So your job was to run around with your homies and try to get them to pop off.
Book bands, promote.
And this was before Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Before Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Before anything like that. I mean, what would you say like the pinnacle star was? Maybe like an email list when you first fucking dropped, like,
dude, that was dude, we didn't even have that shit.
And nobody was doing that. Like,
nobody was doing that.
You're not sending a punker kid an email.
Fuck no, you're not.
Hey man, do you want to come to our show later?
Yeah, you had to hand out flyers. You had to hand out stickers.
Flyers.
Yeah.
Old school shit.
Right, you had to go around town and plaster 4,000 flyers and staple them to telephone poles all over town.
Right.
Everywhere in all the suburbs. I mean, there were a lot of ways that we would promote
footwork.
the fuck out. Yeah,
street teams.
You had to do street teams,
which is part of our campaign. We do some of that now, and
we would literally drive around in a car for hours, all over the greater area, and just plaster flyers everywhere and hand them out to kids.
Jesus,
hours at a time,
and that worked.
Like weeks before the show, right? Because you couldn't count on the venue to promote you. Yeah, they would promote you in their little ad, but whatever. But it wasn't, I mean, there was no guarantee you were going to get asses and seats, right? And this is back in the day when it was almost pay to play, right? You had to sell tickets.
Right. To keep the venue up for you.
Right. Or we got to a point where it was ticket giveaways, right? You guys have done enough footwork for this venue that we're going to give you a stack of tickets just to give them away. To get people to come in, because they were not making their money at the door. They were making their money on the bar.
On the bars, right. That's old school. Definitely old school. And so you were playing with that. So how long you guys been fucking around? Like that you remember. And again, we'll get all Tommy Skelly's side too, but we're going to run through the list for fun because I wanted to talk about the show.
0102?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No. And they hit it for a really long time. And then they took a break. And then they came back. Yeah. And then they took a break again. And now they just did their first show in a while, a couple weekends ago.
Right. Bro, the show was phenomenal. The show was great.
Brazen Rogues played with the Tossers.
Yeah.
Which is an Irish punk band, kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Irish punk.
Here's my thing too, and I loved listening to the Tossers and shit, but I was like, I mean, once the Brazen Rogues played, I was kind of like, eh. I didn't know what to expect. And so it's funny because again, seeing punks, fashion punks, never going to a punk show, right? And then knowing all the cliches. Like I remember the first time I fucked with you and Tommy Skelly, and I was like, motherfuckers, your music's all written with 3 chords. Both of you verbatim were like, oh, it's 4 chords, guy. You're gonna give us the 4th one, you motherfucker.
Right, 4 chords.
Don't try to shortchange us. We got 4.
We got 4 chords.
But both of you at the same, it's 4, guy, right? So like you know that joke.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows that joke, right? He goes, right, your music with like 4 fucking 3. I heard it was 3 chords. So again, they're trying to dog you guys even more, you know? So I hear all these fucking things about these shows, and then we go to this Brazen Rogue show. And I'm like, I kind of knew what the Tossers were going to be like. And I was a little bit, I thought maybe the Tossers had more punk music, but I was like, man, this is pretty crazy that you guys are mixing this together. So that right off the rip was interesting to me. I'm like, the Brazen Rogues opening for the Tossers are quite 2 different styles of music. The Tossers don't care though. They're like, yo, you guys are good to go. You're an awesome band. Put your shit up and let's go fuck with this.
Right.
That is like part number 1 that I'm like, that's interesting. Right. So we go to the show. Of course, we're there dressed beautifully as usual. We look good all the time. Joe Skelly had his hair done up. Looked real good, you know. I think I don't know what I was doing, like wearing a hat or some shit. Either way.
You're wearing your newspaper boy hat.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And that was going to be the next comment. I told the Mega Beast when we were standing there, we walked in, right? I looked around the room. I said, listen, just give it a little bit. You about to see the most motherfuckers with newspaper boy caps and tattoos and mustaches and beards you've ever seen in your fucking life about to be in this place. And sure enough, as it trickled in, bro, all of our peoples came in at one thing, right? And I was sitting there and I'm like, I expected that. Because again, what you said earlier, number 1, like, well, I said it, we're a little bit older, right? And I'm thinking, you know, punk is punk. Who's doing punk today? I don't know. I didn't know who was doing it back then, and they were super famous. I don't see punkers walking anywhere anymore, right? So who's going to be at this fucking show? Let's see. So we're standing around, the show starts collecting, and you walked by, you're like, hey. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to a show with Joe Skelly, you're not going to get all of Joe Skelly's time, you see. Joe Skelly's got to make the rounds. We'll talk about that later. So Joe Skelly pops by. He says, hey, man, you're about to see a weird crowd up in here. We've got some diverse people. And he walks away. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Now, of course, mind you, there's people, you know, coming through that we mutually know. You're like, hey, man, our mutual friend has showed up. Should go say hello. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to say hello to that guy. Maybe a few guys of those showed up. Shout out to Kenobi, came out to the show. Always nice to hang out with our homie. Plus, he's more fucking punk like you guys. You all dirty hiding punks everywhere, man. I can't get rid of you. So we're at the show. It's filling up. Good looking guys are showing up. More punkers. Then I start seeing the straight edge kids. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like the Brazen Rogues has a fan fucking base that is so diverse.
It's wild.
That they even brought the straight edge kids. Bro, I ain't seen a straight edge kid in 20 years. What did we talk about remember Mikey Edge? We talked about this. And nobody's seen that boy since he left and the fucking FBI was probably chasing him. We don't know where the fuck he is. He's eating polar bears on Mars with fucking Dennis Rodman.
Right.
We don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay, so here's these guys, and we're not talking about a little bit. We're talking about a lot. We're talking about spirited motherfuckers.
Oh,
spirited,
huh?
Yeah, we're gonna say that.
All right.
Right. We can smell these spirited motherfuckers. So here we are. We're at the show. It's filling up. I'm like, man, this. And if you notice, Tyler, I don't know, did not leave his spot the entire show.
No, you kind of stayed put.
Yes, sir, I do that. I like to make sure I know which direction the room is turning. So I'm watching the whole room. I'm like, yep, look at all these guys. Now, mind you, just like Joe SKELLY said, some older guys showed up, some younger guys showed up, some Viking guys showed up. There were some big old mammoth motherfuckers. I was like,
there's some big people on that show.
I'm like, if we fight, it's Joe SKELLY on one leg, me on the other, and we're going to bring you down like a fucking tree set in IKEA. I'm going to toss your shit up. So anyways, moving on. Straight edge kids were there. There's some other kids there that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I think I might know who you're with, but you're not. But maybe you are. I'm not sure. What a diverse show.
Super diverse.
That's the first thing. Then they start kicking it off. And this is super interesting because as a music, not buff, but a music industry student, I guess, you know, one of the big things is communication to your crowd, right?
Absolutely.
The Brazen Rogues ran the entire show.
They know how to work a crowd.
The whole show.
They know how to work a crowd.
It's like they knew when to stop. They knew where the pause was. Dude, I'm not going to lie. The guy in the fucking boots and the newsboy cap with the, who was the lead guy in the front? I don't know his name.
Al?
Sure, whatever. Bro, when I saw him outside earlier in the night when we were chilling, I was kind of like, yo, who the fuck are you and why are you dressed like that? That's something. This must be a punk show. Dirty fucking punks. Right? And he goes belting by on the street and I'm like, who the fuck are you, guy? And then we're inside and I'm like, oh, that's who the fuck that guy is. He said, shut the fuck up, you're at my show. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Right? And he put on a great show.
Oh, without a doubt.
So the punk band with 4 chords and
three
members. How about your boy fucking Muscles in the background? Homeboy's yoked like no joke. I'm like, dude, save some protein for the rest of us. Listen, man, I think I lost more muscle than I think you lost more muscle walking in here than I've gained in fucking 10 years. Chill out. Like, fucking huge, bro. Why are you as white as a house, homie? He's got his fucking thing on and his shirt. And I'm just like, bro. So they get up there, they're running the crowd. It's fucking tight. So let's talk about that.
That's years of playing.
Dude, that's 2 bands. Okay, that's fine. But here's my thing. Joe SKELLY's bands association is 2 for 2 for tight motherfuckers. Because our Ramones tribute band, the
Tight Wind.
Fucking, that's ironic. That's what they call themselves. Sure. Is that a Ramones song? Is that a Ramones song? I'm not even sure. Whatever, dude. Their fucking punk band has not been together for years, is tight as fuck. So here's this punk band and here's this punk band. The Brazen Rogues, man. I mean, they put it down. Dude, how many times you go to a show? I've been to hundreds of shows where I didn't even know the band. Because people are just like, hey, man, there's a show tonight. I'm like, whatever, dude, I'm there.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody did.
Right. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right. You just go because there's a show.
Listen.
Because you know what? The great thing about doing that is you might find that guy in the rough.
Oh, dude. Listen, first of all.
That's how I found that Mexican punk band Pinata Protest.
Dude, every time you bring that fucking band up, I die that's a real band. But I have 4 of their songs on my playlist, by the way. So, first of all, shout out to our homies now who, number one, don't listen to the show, because we know you don't. That give us the excuse of, well, I don't think I'd like that, so I'm not coming out tonight. Listen, you soft fucking piece of shit. You better get your ass to the fucking next show we say to go to.
Well, that's hard. That's pretty hard. But hey,
bro, I don't want to hear it anymore.
What
happened to the culture? First, okay, so then this is my fucking point, bro. You guys were all knocking punkers, and I've done my day of knocking punkers, and I did when I was younger. I'd be like, you fucking dirty punks. And some rivalry grew.
But listen,
but listen. So we got to get to the point. So the show, here we are, with this band, with this diverse crowd. Running this fucking crowd, putting on this fucking tight show, and it just continues to grow. You guys got a circle pit going.
Yes.
First of all, dude, I was just at Whitechapel like the other day. They couldn't get a fucking pit going. Or Whitechapel might have, but another band couldn't. Or they can't hold a pit. Dude, I don't remember last time I went to a show. Okay, we'll get on that subject too, because there's a difference in the punk music. Punk is supposed to be about this cross culture of art, of freedom of everything, of freedom from the people and the man and all this other shit. And I've never, ever witnessed that before in my fucking life until we went to this show.
I'm glad that
How is that possible?
I'm not sure, but I'm
I'm still
glad
stunned.
that it was that impressive.
Dude, bro, I've been to billions of shows, but the camaraderie of these other shows is not there. And here, let's talk about the staples. So we were going to talk about certain things. First of all, I got classed with the dickhead side of punk. Like, that's the crew, right? They're like, you're part of this group. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Well, my class and younger generation, we went into fucking hardcore. Hardcore's a little bit ahead of me, but it left us with hardcore, scenecore, and all that other bullshit that would have eventually led into screamo, metalcore, and all that other junk. Either way, along with the heckling of whatever, you go into a circle pit, and I was laughing about this because they were like, let's get a circle pit going. And I said, watch. And I told the Mega Beast, I said, watch. If you have a circle pit right now, nobody's going to get punched in the face. So they do the whole circle pit. Everything went fine. We got done. I go, that's the fucking problem with hardcore. We descend from this punk culture that was supposed to do this, but if you go to a hardcore show and do this, you're getting fucking punched in your face. Like, there's dudes that just run the gamut and punch women in their face on the front of their shows. Right. But look at that culturally in something where I'm like, hey, my culture of music came from your culture of music, but you guys can do a full circle pit, pick everybody up, and everybody's fine. And I just clock some bitch in the fucking face, and now she's over there getting checked out by EMS because her nose is broken. Dude, and this is okay. By the way, let's put this out there too, by the way. This is okay. This is okay behavior.
At hardcore shows.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And that's true, dude.
But listen, here's the thing. Every punk show I ever went to, there would be a pit, whatever, right? If somebody fell down, everybody would pick him up.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't do that.
Right. They would pick him up. There's nobody getting stomped to death on the floor.
Oh, we stomp people. Right.
Look, I've been...
That is so crazy, dude.
But for me, part of the experience of going to punk shows, right, was going to the venues, right?
Okay.
Because some of these venues would look like abandoned houses, right? Where they'd be abandoned storefronts.
Yes, that is definitely
Or they'd
part
be
of your
these
culture.
shitty fucking punk rock clubs that are all painted black, covered in stickers and spray paint. You know, in the worst, shittiest bathroom you'd ever been in your life. But you went to that show for the experience and to see these wild bands that you had heard about.
And that's kind of my point, because again, I've been to a billion shows, okay? The most of the shows that I've been to have been about, you know, the types of shows where dudes are punching women in the fucking face. And to me, there's no camaraderie there, is my point.
There's none.
No. Half of the reason that most of those kids
and then that shit would descend into different factions and different groups.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. That is the fucking problem.
But that's not what happened in OA shows. That's not what happens in punk shows.
I didn't see that at all. And this is the best part too. I'm not trying to out nobody, but I'm pretty sure somebody, okay, this is what I heard from the show. Somebody was like, the homie on stage was like, yeah, man, we want to thank our homie who just came back from Florida. He just got out of jail. This song's for him. And he starts singing this fucking song about being oppressed, and then homeboy's on the stage singing with him. Bro, you're not seeing that at no hardcore show. If you jump up there, 10 dudes are going to body slam you and drop you everywhere. Security's going to throw your ass off the show. Like, it is a fucking different show.
Oh, it's totally a different show.
Here's another one too. You were joking in the beginning. You were like, oh yeah, I'm going to tell them that they still suck because of this. And you had a reason, right? And I was like, yeah, it must be your fault that hecklers exist. I remember the first fucking scene show that I went to, we were standing there and those guys started screaming, fuck you fucking pieces of shit, go home. And I'm just like, dude, I paid for my ticket. Did you pay for yours? Because I'm not, y'all trying to make the band leave and I'm not, they're going to leave, homie. Like, you're going to piss them off and they're going to quit. And we just wasted $30.
No, listen, when I first started repping the Brazen Rogues, right, we're trying to make our way. We also tried to raise up all the other local bands, right? The young teenager bands, right? They're still in high school and they're trying to make their way. We'd book them.
And you're trying to help them.
We would book them on shows, right? Because like some of them were really fucking good, right? So we'd try to book them to play with us, right? I used to do an annual show called Punk in the Gutter, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be like 8 bands, right? But we'd set them up in a way where you get the ebbs and the flows in music, right? So it's not the same sound again and again and again and again. Like there's an art to this, right?
Right.
Dude, we've played with international acts. We've played with national acts. Dude, one time we played with a band called Red Alert out of England, an old school like 70s, 80s punk band from England, right?
Nice.
These guys all showed up and they're like, let's go to the bar and get pissed before the show. So we ended up drinking those guys under the table, and then we had to haul their ass to the fucking venue and like prop them up on stage to fucking play the show, right?
That's awesome.
Like we used to do wild shit. We used to there was a great band out of Pittsburgh called Tommy Gutless that would do a hell of a show, dude. There's the Pie Tasters that would come up out of, I think, Georgia. Dude, they were incredible bands. I know, dude, I haven't even mentioned all the bands, right? Like,
right.
We were featured on an album called like The Backstreets of Oi. We made that compilation like 2 or 3 times. Like we did a lot of shit in the short time that we were around, but that's because we made a name.
The thing that bothered me was
played in Philly.
Is here I am, again, studying cultures and people is one of my favorite things. And here we are. I saw a little bit. Because again, some of the punks that I ran with, they were scumbags. Dudes would sell you down the river for $5.
Oh yeah. And you're always going to have that in every group that you associate with.
But being a young man with the small ratio of interaction I had, that got built up into this must be the majority of these motherfuckers.
Well, but listen, even with that, you knew who the scumbags were, and they would come to the show and they'd support the show, but you wouldn't trust them with your fucking wallet.
Right. Don't let them hold your jacket or nothing.
Right.
Right.
Right, because you just knew they were dirtbags, right? But then, like I was trying to tell you, at one point in time in the local area, the crust punks showed up.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I don't like those ones.
The crust punks.
They're smelly.
Yeah, because they were the train hoppers before the train hoppers.
Train hoppers were train hoppers. Right.
And these were the kids that would literally squat. They wouldn't shower.
We call them gutter punks.
Gutter punks, right? Gutter punks. But you had gutter punks, and then you had crust punks.
Oh, crusties are grosser.
Were even grosser than gutter punks, right?
No.
Oh yeah.
That's where punk lost me. When we hit high school, before I got here, my best friend growing up, one of them. He had gone from being a metalhead to being a gutter punk. He just stopped bathing one day. Then he didn't want to play any music except for this fucking 3-chorded fucking songs. And I was like, dude, what's wrong with you? You got broken.
Right. And look, and I'm not saying that all punks don't shower all the time or whatnot. Some do, whatever, right? That's
in every culture though.
Right. But I mean, again, a lot of this stems from the fact that these fucking gutter punks or these kids, they were squatters.
They're street kids, right?
They were street kids.
And so here's my thing. Again, back to the show. So we're in this show. We've got this big diverse crowd. And I mean, we're talking all the way up and down, diverse crowd. So I was like, that's pretty impressive, right? The band is out there conversing with everybody. That's another point that for me was very big because I'm like, dude, I don't care if you're small or local or big or whatever. If you're hiding in the back, you're hiding in the back. It's not that hard to come out and shake a hand.
Right.
Because we have, and I get it, you're like, well, if Tech Nine's, he can't shake 65,000. Okay, fine. Let's not talk about Tech Nine. Let's talk about the dudes that are doing jobs in shops that we're talking about, which are hole in the wall fucking places. Their green room is a fucking, a sitting room? Maybe has a fucking mirror in it. Maybe.
Right.
It's covered in stickers, covered in writing, covered in dick drawings. That's their green room. Okay. If that's your green room.
I've been in plenty of those.
Right. If that's your green room.
We played plenty of shows where they paid us in drinks. Right.
and
we can't afford to pay you, but you drink for free all night.
So then what should you be doing as a fucking member? You should be out there shaking hands.
Oh, hands down.
Without it, and that's like.
I mean, at one point in time, we were sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon before Pabst Blue Ribbon blew up on the scene.
And we're hip. Oh, your hipsters here love it.
Oh, but I mean, and realistically, what happened is we used to play this club, right? And we all drank Pabst Blue Ribbon because that's what our grandpas drank, right?
Right.
And then the bar next door would serve Pabst Blue Ribbon. We would leave the venue, go to the bar next door and drink, and then come back to the show.
Right.
And finally, the owner was like talking to the state rep for Pabst, and the state rep for Pabst showed up at our show, and he goes, I had to meet the fucking band that refuses to hang out in the venue they're playing in because they don't carry Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Right. Wow.
And then all of a sudden, that venue started carrying Pabst Blue Ribbon. Right?
That's amazing.
Next thing I know, Pabst is making banners for us. They were making, and initially they started making us shirts that had the band logo on the front and the Pabst Blue Ribbon on the back. And then they got to a point where they were just giving us stacks and stacks of merchandise with our shit on it to give away.
Jesus. Can we get some of that still? Who's got that?
It's
I'm
out
gonna need
there.
collectors.
It's out there.
You know, Tyler, I don't know is about collecting. If you
Listen.
got a Brazen Rogue vintage, I want it, you motherfuckers. And I didn't know they had shirts the other night, so I didn't get one. So I'm gonna deal with that. I might pull something on that. So
Right.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I was stuck.
Dude, we sold everything under the sun, right? We sold soap. We sold thongs with that
Soap.
band's name on the front of the thong.
Soap, how ironic.
How ironic.
How
right?
ironic.
How ironic.
Mhm.
Sold baby doll t-shirts. We
Oh,
sold
yeah.
t-shirts. We sold soccer jerseys.
I'll
that
take
said-
it all.
It said hooligan on the back.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, we had the greatest merchandise anywhere. There's
Right.
thousands and thousands and thousands of this merchandise floating around out there somewhere, right?
We gotta find it.
And one day I was with one of the band members in a thrift store, and we're going through the t-shirt rack, and we found one of the band's t-shirts at the thrift store. And I
Yep.
looked at the dude, and I'm like, you fucking made it.
Right.
He's like, what? I'm like, you fucking made it, dude. If your shirt is in the fucking thrift store, you fucking made
It means it was good enough to pass on, not bad enough to throw away in the trash.
Right.
And that's what matters.
That's
they
what
said, I
matters.
don't need it today, but somebody else does.
Dude, we used to go down to Columbus, and there was a bar we'd play down in Columbus, and it would be standing room only. Like, the fucking fire marshal would damn near show up to fucking shut down the show because there would be so many people, asshole to belly button, jammed up in that fucking club. Like, we did some amazing shows and played in some amazing venues. And dude, I remember we also played at a fucking flea market one time when we first started playing.
That's pretty
Because guess
punk.
what? You play where the fuck you can play, right?
It seems like the punk culture would be of the worse it is, the better, more punk it is,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
always seemed like your theme.
And look,
Yeah.
and it's kind of how you get your rep, right?
Okay.
These fucking guys play anywhere, right? They'll play anything.
Right.
And it was really weird because it was hard to get people to come to our shows locally, right?
Yeah.
And we started building up a following. It wasn't until we started playing out of state, out of city, and played other places that all of a sudden our rep blew up.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Well,
you come
nobody
back
ever-
home and everybody's like, oh my God, you guys played fucking Philadelphia. You guys played here. You guys
Right.
played here. You guys
Nobody
played
gives
here.
a fuck about you until you leave home, bro.
Right.
That's how it always is.
Right. And then we came back and then we met up with some other great local bands and then we would do shows together. We'd do rotations of shows with them, right?
Right.
And they would and then all of a sudden you start getting cross-pollination from those bands that wouldn't see you, but they're like, dude, these guys are fucking tight, dude. Like we played a Battle of the Bands one time, right? Dude, the rapper kids' parents were like, you guys are fucking awesome. We want t-shirts. They were buying up all our merchandise and they took that shit back to the hood with them,
That's funny.
right? Because they were like, holy fuck, you guys were awesome, right?
Dude, the music was great. I am a fan of the band. You showed me the music before. And I'm okay. Like, I can listen to anything, you know, but it's not going to make me a fan, right? And I'm not going to lie to your face. I'm not going to lie to Tommy Skelly's face and be like, hey, man, your band is so good. Yeah, I want to hang out with you guys, you know?
Right.
But you go to the fucking show, you see the show they ran, you see the camaraderie, you see the fans they brought out. Dude, some of those dudes up there, I'm like, you know, these motherfuckers have probably been here since day one.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And here's the best part.
And
I
to
honestly,
be frank with you, that wasn't even all of the fan base.
oh, I don't doubt that.
That was like a tenth of the fan.
Yeah, I
base.
don't doubt that at all. Especially now that I see the kind of loyalty that they draw in general. You know what I mean? The kind of shit that they got going on. It's just, you know, you and I have been so fucking busy this year. And I know you were hyping your boys up to begin with. But again, how do you sell punk to a fucking scene fucking hardcore kid? You don't. You're like, I got this punk band. I'm like, yeah, I don't care, guy. Punk was cool 20 years before I hit the scene, bro. We don't care. We stole your fucking style. I've got the boots. I've got the clean pants. I've got the t-shirt. I don't need your fucking music because this music's more violent and it's louder and it's angrier. But that's not really what punk is to me has ever been about. Dude, I Googled it earlier today and it was literally like, punk's supposed to be about the camaraderie, supposed to be a bunch of subcultures. Y'all motherfuckers got to be mixed up. And that was a mixed up show. Now let's talk about it even more. So I was sitting there and one of their band members, I'm not going to mention who. I'm going to keep his name clean the way he keeps our city clean. I was walking by with the Mega Beast and I hear, look at this fucking piece of shit metalhead kid, blah, blah, blah. And I look over and there's a crowd of them. And there he is sitting in between them with his red bandana and his fucking punk jacket on, and I looked over and I just went like this. I said, smells like dirty punks out here. I better go back in. And I fucking left, bro. But to have this dirty Cleveland punk just sitting there fucking staring, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. You guys are the real deal punkers. Bro, I love it. Hey, listen, so where did the Punk's Not Dead thing come from?
Well, because, you know, like I said,
Is that from what,
it comes in ebbs and flows, right? And it, like,
is that where that slogan comes from, though? Or
yeah,
is that coined by a band or something? Or is that,
I mean, that's been an old thing, right? Because it hit the scene and then it disappeared, right?
the Punk's Not Dead thing?
Yeah, and then what happens is you're always going to have your hardcore people that listen to punk no matter what, right?
Right.
Even though it's not on the forefront of the music scene at that point in time, doesn't mean it's gone, and that's why that's where that originated from. It's not fucking dead. You just
We're
don't
just not
see
at
us.
the front.
We're just not at the forefront.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a band will pop out, and everybody's like, "Oh man, this punk," you know. But then you get like skater punk, right? Like Blink.
So, okay, let's go into subcultures. But first, I got to tell this stupid story. So, for the 5 minutes I was hanging out with some of the cutest punk girls that I knew back in Orange County, that was the thing, right? Like, we didn't understand it. We couldn't, at least me, this is me. I was like, I can't understand this. I can't find it. You know, you girls are fine as hell. I'm going to chill with you for a while till I find some, you know, whatever. But that was our thing. These girls and I, we'd walk around cutting that into everything, bro. There's probably 100,000 little things that somewhere where it just says Punk's Not Dead onto it. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I hope this means that eventually they're going to be bigger again. And that's what I thought of as a kid when I would walk around with a little pocket knife, putting that on shit with these girls, because, and they were all descendants of older siblings. So for them, it was, I'm carrying the torch of my older.
Dude, I'm telling you, you have to understand, at least here locally, we had to fight fucking hard to bring it back.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was all metal.
Oh, no, I believe you.
It was all metal.
Yeah, no.
Or it was hardcore.
When I landed here, you guys were all about the hardcore. If you listened to anything else, people were like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Yeah, no, they didn't
So we had
care.
to fight hard to bring that back.
Oh,
right?
and hardcore still beat you out too, huh?
Well, it's not that they didn't beat us out. Again, it goes in ebbs and flows, and it's just fucking weird. It'll be hot on the scene for a couple of years, and then it fades out because there are no more new up-and-coming bands.
Right.
You know?
Which is weird.
What do you backfill with if there's no new talent coming up?
That's a good question. That's a great question.
You know, and that's part of why we tried so hard to help raise up these young bands, these young local acts.
Yeah, and I mean, that, again, and that's what I'm trying to express, I guess. I hope that people understand that from me. I'm trying to express that what I viewed versus what was told to me that culture was supposed to be, I've never seen until I was fucking here the other night. That's my fucking point. And any, you know, I mean, for my shows, there's no camaraderie at a fucking scene show. You're down there, you're beating someone's ass. It's a bunch of angry little 19-year-old white boys, and they're just slapping each other silly. You know, and that's, to me, that's the whole show.
Right.
And I really believe that.
Because you got to understand that when I was, we were listening to Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros, and we were listening to all those in between, you know.
Are those punk bands too?
No, they're not.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Spin-off of like post-industrial.
I can't handle that stuff. Yeah, that's not me.
But you listen to punkers, they listen to The Cure.
Oh, I love The Cure.
Right? And they listen to all those bands because those bands were also influences.
Remind me later to tell you about The Cure because we got to go to the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's just, there was so much influence that went into a lot of the stuff they did. And what you had to settle on is what's your vibe going to be, right? That's what they say today, your vibe.
I don't know.
What's your sound?
I'm blown away.
And you have to understand that the sound has been generally the same, but it changes too, right? Over time.
Yeah.
You know? And then as you get tired, I mean, because I can remember one of the first reviews written about one of our first shows, right? Or
what'd they say?
Our first albums. And it was like, it said something along the lines, these guys are so punk that it's like, and gravelly, it's like watching cavemen drag themselves across the ground. It said something crazy along those lines. I still have it saved somewhere. Right?
Again, back to the worse you are, the better we love you.
Right.
Type of deal. Right. You know, look at Sid. He couldn't even play the bass.
Right.
My guy just slapped it.
Right. Yeah. You know, and so, but some of the things that helped promote us was the sticker campaigns, right?
Right.
We give out stickers to every skateboarder, every punk rocker, every blue collar dude we saw and be like, here's a free sticker, right? because everybody loves stickers. Next thing I know, there's stickers all over the fucking city. You go to a McDonald's drive-through, there's one slapped on the ordering speaker box, right?
Right.
So everybody that pulled up to fucking order food, they saw that sticker, right?
Right.
Or one of the coup d'état, if you will, was one day there was an article on the front page of the newspaper, right, with a giant picture of the local beach, and had a sign right in the middle of the beach that said, "Don't swim in the water. Pollution levels are too high." And right in the middle of the fucking sign was one of our stickers.
Right.
On the front page of the fucking newspaper. You can't get better PR than that.
No,
And plain as day, you could see the sticker with the band's name on that sign on the
Right.
front page of the paper.
Jesus. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm a huge fan, though. The number one thing for a live show should be what? How good the live show is.
Oh, yeah.
So if your live show is on point,
Oh, yeah.
as Tekanina has constantly told everybody, if you have a good live show, the word of mouth will bring everybody back. And I have no... Where did these guys advertise for that show? Probably nowhere. You know, where did they tell people? No one. It was word of mouth. It was people calling people saying, look, these guys are back. It's time to go outside.
Yep.
And people showed up. Something that was brought up by the Mega Beast was she basically was like, look, dude, did you notice how many fucking people left after the Brazen Rogues played? Left.
Just dipped.
I left. I left
Right.
3 songs into the Tossers. They played my favorite song by them, and I was like, oh, later, guys.
Gotta go.
Yeah, I'm here. My homie played. That was a great show. That's cool, but you guys aren't topping them. Honestly, they're speakers, and this is nothing against the Tossers. I'm sure they're amazing, but their sound was a little bit higher than the Rogues, and it kind of blew the place out a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of whatever, you know?
Right.
Joe Skelly's like, no, I don't care. He's like, it was loud and good and fun and all these things. Okay, so next question. Let's see. So one time you told me that you got to meet your favorite band, Smash Mouth. How was that?
What?
Huh?
I never said that.
You sure?
I'm pretty fucking
You
sure. I
Smash
never
Mouth guy?
I
Didn't
never
you,
said
you
that.
were singing Walking on the Sun the other day when you came into the studio. And that's not wasn't you?
No, that wasn't
Oh,
me. That must have been
shit,
somebody else.
shit. Was it Green Day? Is that your favorite band?
No.
You're a Dookie fan?
Dookie.
A Dookie fan.
Right.
So so let's throw some of these out here. We already talked about them. You a Dead Kennedys fan?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I don't understand them. They got cool logos though.
Yes.
Super famous logo everywhere you go. See
Right.
Dead Kennedys. GBH, that was the band
Yes.
that we were. Okay, so that's it. That's that one we were talking about
Right.
earlier.
I thought you were trying to talk about CBGBs.
No, I'm still
Right, right.
confused because I still don't know what GBH is. It's a band?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't understand it. The Clash.
Yes.
But they're not a punk band though. But
Yeah,
they created punk.
They're
Or-
classified with punk, but their roots are in reggae.
Because and I'm sure that goes to the music side because of the way they strum and the way they play and all that other shit. Okay.
Right. Their roots are in
Okay,
reggae,
okay.
but they're also in more along the lines of, oh, my brain's failing me right now. Go on. I'll think of it.
Yeah. So the Addicts,
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Black Flag,
Yep.
obviously, Agent Orange.
Yep.
Okay. Sex Pistols.
Yep.
So you are a fan of Sex Pistols, like their actual music.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure this out. I don't remember last time. I haven't heard a Sex Pistols song in like 25 years. So I'm gonna figure that out later and find that out. If you guys, then this is based on your opinions. We're gonna ask Tommy Skelly too. If you could,
And it's not all the Sex Pistol stuff.
no, of course not.
No, no.
Jesus,
Yeah,
no. Nobody does that anymore.
I mean, but you got to remember, after the Sex Pistols, Johnny Rotten started his own fucking band called PIL, right?
Right. No, I didn't know that. Of course, I didn't know that. So if you personally could work with one band that, you'd be there doing your job as a Brazen Rogues promoter and blah, 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 with one band that you want to work with, that you want to see Brazen play with, who would it be? Just out of curiosity. And we're going to ask you this again later, too. So, you get to...
We've played with them all.
Oh, my guy went deep. You heard it for fucking here right now. Listen, I don't like punk music that much. I like chanty stuff, though. Does that count?
Yes.
I don't know if that counts. But anyways, moving on. The Brazen Rogues put on a show. I am a fan of shows. They got everything at that show. I can't wait.
They ticked all the boxes.
I'm so fucking pissed that I didn't walk 20 feet to get a shirt. Because I was like, man, the Tossers have shirts, right? No. And then I was like, do the Brazen Rogues have shirts? I'm like, probably not. And I was just standing there, and I kind of saw people go that way and come back, but there were so many other band punk shirts there that I didn't notice enough of the actual ones that we were seeing where I was convinced that they were selling them. So I fucked myself.
Yep.
That happens all the time.
These things will happen.
Yeah. That's part of it. So let me think if there's any other fucking thing. Oh, here's one. Fugazi?
Fugazi?
Is that a real punk band?
That was a...
Tell me what that is. Explain it to me.
Fugazi is a band.
From your terms of whatever it is.
Yeah, they were around. They did a lot of shows. They kind of fit in that genre. But they also fall into a couple of other genres, right?
What other genres do they fall into?
Well, have you done any of the research on on Fugazi?
No, but I'm going to tell you a Fugazi story, though.
Okay, what's the Fugazi story?
I had a dog named Fugazi who was named after that band.
And you don't even know who the band is, but you named the dog after it?
No, bro. He was obviously attached to a woman.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had that dog, and I didn't know that was punk.
Right.
Or is it punk?
It falls. It's on the outside edges of that. Yeah.
Have you seen them before?
I have not seen them live.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Are they a good band?
They put on a show.
Okay. Well, listen, we've gone long. It's 30, 90 seconds of everything you love and everything you don't. The Brazen Rogues are phenomenal. Check them out. I'm a huge fan. It's my first punk fan favorite ever. And I'm not counting Agent Orange and Werewolf and Misfits. First of all, I don't count Misfits at all because they're not even punk. They're mainstream. Just get over that. It's mainstream music.
That's not how they started.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't there for that.
Right.
I am a student of the mainstream, so I can't sit here and be like, yeah, it's my favorite punk. Bro, it's not. Right. It's mainstream. That Skull's famous, okay? So there's that, okay? The Brazen Rogues.
DRI.
The show, bro. The show. The fucking show.
Amazing show.
And you know what? We're not even going to talk about Joe SKELLY's rep. Should we talk about that? Should we talk about Joe SKELLY's rep? This is going. I don't care. It'll go forever.
All right.
Let's talk about how Joe SKELLY knows every person walking around that show.
That's from years of hard work.
All of them. We're talking age from the one that just came up for the show with their parents all the way to the top, bro. I think the little kids were waving to you. Everybody's waving to you guys. The funniest shit I've ever seen. Back to those two guys at Disneyland. Those are the last people that I remember being in a place with other than you and dirty punker Tommy Skelly, where the whole room was like, hey guys, haven't seen you in a few weeks. Where have you been? All right, well, one more and then we're going to go because I don't know what to say anymore. Were you mad that they passed you up for the role in SLC Punk and went with what's his fucking face? And do you think it's because you are a genetic lottery winner and they just needed somebody less handsome? Is that what happened with that role? What happened here? You and Tommy.
I wasn't even.
We know Tommy Skelly.
I wasn't even approached.
Oh hell no! There it is. So we're saying truth on that.
I wasn't even approached.
So this is one of those things where to make it look more fucking punk, they went with the worst looking guy.
That's possible. It's very possible.
30, 97 seconds. The truth is out there.